Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Like a smack addict, right? And as you can tell by today's thumbnail, oh boy, I'm talking about making money, right? Bob. Orale Bob. Everybody in their familia, in a menudo style, in a direct motherfucking fashion, has a Bob, right? Orale, whether it's a tío, a primo, their jefito, somebody along the línea in a Chicano family or a Mexicano family has a Bob, right? All my love, all my kisses. Watch out. I myself had a Bob in my family, right? I had my Tío Joe. Hey, man, I could sit here, I could tell you stories, rest in peace, my Tío Joe. But I could sit here and I could tell you story after story of the Vato, you know what I mean? He's an original Nuestra Raza member. I remember the Vato had structure, real big on his back, Jojo the Turlock. And he was fucking Bob, right? He was always the one that was the fuck up, right? Always the one locked up, You had me locked up, you had me turned in. That was him, He was always jailbird Joey. But at the same time, he was beloved by everybody. Everyone in the family, besides me and the primos, of course, talked shit about him. But everybody loved him. No matter if he was high, no matter if he was getting in the mix, whatever the case may be, man, this was my Theo, and this is who I looked up to. And let me give you the get down on that, right? Because there's a big misconception on things as far as, if you look at the movie La Bamba, let's take La Bamba for instance. Oh boy, right? Richie, who actually in real life is my primo. Not the Vato who played him, the real one, Richie Valens. He was my grandmother's primo. And yes, indeedy. I bet you didn't know that. Trip out, so he was the good one. Bought his jefita a house, had a good career, went to school, did everything he was supposed to do. And when people watch that movie, yeah, Richie! Yeah, they like Richie. Richie got love. But Bob is the one. Ain't Bob the one? He made that movie, And the reason is the characters, because everybody can identify and everybody has a Bob in their family. And if you ain't got a Bob in your family, you're missing out, homes, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, right off the top, Bob was the one. My Theo reminded me of Bob, man. He rode the motorcycle. He did all that. He had the leather vest and, you know what I mean? I got a great, who do you love? That motherfucker right there was, who do you love, right? You know what I mean? Hey, he was screwed, blued, and fucking tattooed. Tattooed at least anyways. Now, I'm going to tell you a war story about me and my Theo, man. I actually did time with him. And I remember growing up my whole life, he was my role model. I used to see him get out of the pen constantly. I was a little kid. He'd get out on swole. This is back when they had free weights, and he had a big old structure on his back. And on the bottom, he had Norte, the Huelga bird right here with Viva Mi Gente. And I mean, just a traditional all tatted back on swole, big old whip, don't. You know what I mean? And just looked the part. And I said, when I grow up, so I was gonna be Uncle Joe, right? My mom said, you're gonna be locked up. I said, probably. You know what I mean? I knew I was pinta bound. And that's how it worked out. But Trip, so years passed, man. We grew to be very close. I grew to be his favorite nephew. And maybe it was the mix, the mix I got into. I started getting involved in gangs, and then I did my 187. I got locked up. So by the time I did all that and I got out and I started functioning and all that, I would always go to his house over there in Modesto, Turlock, wherever he was living at that time, the Bay Area. And we'd kick it, barbecue, carne asada, whatever the case may be. And he always said, you remind me of me when I was little. When you grow, you're going to be just like me. I said, motherfucker, I already grew up, right? And I am just like you. So see, I told you, right? But at the same time, as much as I respected and I loved him, I hated what he had become, which was a tecato. But you got to understand, back in them days, all the norteños, all the northerners, all the Chicanos, man, of that period, man, were slamming. They were all in the mix, man. Black was their thing, and it affected his life. It took him at the young age of 50. And for that, I can't forgive him, right? He's a man, and a man's going to do whatever a man wants to do, but at the same time, I don't forgive him because he was my favorite Theo, and he took away my role model. He took away my hero. I thought I Batman, and I was fucking Robin. That was for sure. And but this Robin had a pedazo. Bang, bang. Pow, bang, boom, to the moon. It was what it was. Um, but I just tripped on the similarities with him and the guy Bob, you know. And I've been around a lot of homeboys, man. I've been around a lot of individuals, a lot of familias. You know, I went and kicked at a lot of homeboys' houses, quinceañeras, weddings, funerals, just kicking back. And there's always that one tío, or there's always that one primo. Hey, who's that? Oh, that's my primo Paco right there. Oh, Paco, come here. Oh, my love. Oh, my kisses. That motherfucker come in like, I said, oh, this ain't Rudy from the Silhouettes. This motherfucker's Bob right here. He's like, you know what I mean? Straight up. And it just was a trip. You know, how beloved that character was and how beloved was my tío. So Trip, me and my tío, growing up, we actually ended up in Tracy together to do time. I never thought it would be possible. I never thought it would happen. But it did happen, right? And what had happened was, I remember I didn't have a carro at that time. I was doing bad. You know what I mean? I just got out. You know, the struggle was real. Didn't have a chance to get on deck yet. You know, it was only a matter of time before I was going to be dipping and clipping. But I wasn't whipping yet. So I would have to walk all the way across town to the parole office. They had moved the parole office, and I lived way in Beechwood, which was the other side of town. And wasn't no homeboys looking out for me or none of that shit. You know, I just got out. I was trying to stay away from the homeboys anyways. I wasn't trying to get in that mix. But my tío, you know, he actually lived on the other side of town. But I called him, hey, give me a ride to the pro office. He said, fuck that, let's walk. Hey, God gave me Cortezes to walk. I said, God didn't make Cortezes. He said, well, God made Nike and Nike made Cortezes. Swoosh, motherfucker, right? And anyways, he was just bullshitting, man. He jumped in his whip. And the vato had a drinking problem, right? He had a lot of problems. But this was one of many of his problems. And, orale, Bob. This motherfucker pulls up to a four-way stop and throws a beer, slams a beer, and throws the can out right in front of the cop. The cop looks at him, and palabra, man, I read the paperwork. The cop goes, sir, did you just throw a beer can out in front of me? And he hit him with the Bob. He said, oh, boy. They snatched him up, handcuffed him. And I guess it was fucking his 5th, 6th DUI. I don't know what it was, but he ended up in Tracy prison. And of course, that day, I never made it to the parole office. I decided, if for no other reason, I wasn't going to swoosh that day. I wasn't going to walk. This fool never came to pick me up. I was already mad at the situation. Little did I know he was already in fucking county jail on his way to Tracy pretty soon. And I ended up catching a violation. Well, by the time they caught me, my tío was in Tracy and I didn't even know it. So the first day, I'm cleared already. I get to the yarda, and the makeup of the yard is in the back are the dip bars, all the bars. You know, there's no free weights or anything like that. So anyone that knows Tracy DVI prison, it's a big fucking yard. Very big yard. There's like a tower in the middle. And if you keep on walking, way in the back are the bars, and they're all divvied up. You know, the Southsiders would be over here. There wasn't none walking the linea with us at that time because it's a reception. But when there was, they used to have those bars on the other side. Then it was cut up into cars. You know, you'd have the vatos from Sacra over here, vatos from Stockton and Modesto right here, and then Merced County. And of course, I went immediately to Merced County. You know what I mean? Checked in with the homeboys. What's up? You know what I mean? Beep, 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 boop. And it was all good. And then I couldn't miss it, man. There's my tío. And I was wondering, what the fuck is this vato doing? You got to understand, he hadn't been locked up for a long time by this time. But this vato has structure real big on his back. And I'm thinking, why isn't this cat validated, right? And I knew it was my tío right off the top. And he's hitting his pull-ups. And I came up behind him, slapped him on his ass. Hey, right? He jumped off real quick, seen it was me, gave me a hug, and said, man, what are you doing? And we kicked it. And of course, man, it wasn't but about the next yard when the IGI came and snatched him up off the yard and validated him. And for no other reason than the tattoo on his back, you know? And I remember we end up getting out. You know, I do a few years, or I do a year flat, and he does his time, and we get out. Anyways, by the time we get out, we're kicking back, and he's like, man, you know, it was a trip seeing you. And Tracy sits me down. He said, let me give you a little game. Let me give you a little clecha. Since I fucking already started you off, let me end it. I said, well, what's up? Now I'm thinking he's going to give me some, you know, some good shit. Constitution type shit, bond type shit, you know, shit I already know, but I love hearing him say it, you know what I mean? Because I've been catching him making up words and shit. And he's like, you know, when I was young, man, I never wanted to go to prison, right? And I said, yeah, what happened? Well, I fucking went. I mean, he goes, but I never wanted you to go, and then you went with me, or was there with me. And he goes, 2 things. A, that's the greatest day of my life, seeing my nephew there, and seeing the way you were wiggling with the gente. 2, that was the worst day of my life, because you became everything I never really wanted you to be, right? And I'll never forget that to this day, man. It was like the yin and the fucking yang, right? He was telling me, yeah, you know, I'm proud. I'm proud that you grew up to be a man. I'm proud that you grew up to be a homeboy of righteous standings. And then on the other side, I'm fucking mad that you did, you know? And I'll never forget that, you know? And to all those youngsters that are watching me, and oh yes, motherfuckers, you're watching me, right? Remember that. Remember I said that story. Because later on when you're thinking, man, you know, I'm proud, bro. I'm happy for the gente, man, when they're with the cause and they're true believers and they're all that. Hey, man, I can't be mad. You know, this is something that, you know, I was an intricate part of that puzzle. You know, I made a lot of sacrifices in my life so that you could be right here, right now, watching the Gun as an active, fully functioning member of whatever cause you're from, right? But at the same time, you know, I'm kind of upset with the path in life you're choosing. But I'm a nobody, bro. I can't tell you nada, Sasuke. Oh, boy. And I'm not going to tell you nada. All I'm going to tell you is peep the stilo, peep the game, keep your awareness up to par on what's going on around you, homie, and figure it out for yourself, you know? And get some action tonight. All right, so later on down the years, you know, we find out that my uncle catches cirrhosis of the liver. Like I said, he was a heavy drinker. He was into his thing. And he passes away, right? And I didn't understand the type of respect he had from so many different certain individuals, right? That this individual actually had. And so we went to his funeral. There was hundreds of people there that I didn't even know. You know, there was canales there. There was a lot of hermanos there. Of course, a lot of gang members. But those are besides the point. There was a lot of good, righteous gente. People that were there, man, that just wanted to pay their respects because he did a maparo at one point in time. You know, just he was a good guy. He had a lot of love, you know. So this is my thing, how it correlates with Bob de la Bamba, right? Just because the Vato has that look, just because you think the Vato's into bad stuff, and he might be, doesn't mean he has a bad heart and he's a bad person. Don't judge your book by its cover, you know? And it's easy for us to perceive that, and it's easy for us to like that. You know, just like I said in the movie, Richie was the good one, but don't no one give a fuck about Richie. You know what I mean? Don't, hey, no one cares, right? You know what I mean? All they care about is, oh boy, we was rocking, we were rolling, eat it. This man stole the show, and the reason why he stole the show is because a lot of us could identify. You know, a lot of us identify with the drama. A lot of us identify with the gangs. A lot of us identify with the bad, right? Nobody wants to identify with the good. Everyone wants to play it off like they got good intentions, but Sabasuke, at the end of the day, you're going to do it in a bad way. You know, and ain't nothing wrong with that. You're going to learn. Oh, yes. You're going to learn, right? Everyone's going to learn. I learned, you know, and I'm not all the way 100% fucking righteous. I'm not all the way 100% learned or tapped into being good. You know, I mean, I have my days where I wake up, I'm like, fuck that, give me a pedazo, I'm going to get to it. And then I remember, I'm not active and I function, right? And it ain't all about that. You know, some things are hard to let go. But I'm going to learn to let that go. Now, my tío laced me, right? He laced me to always be a man and stand 10 toes down, regardless of your status, regardless of the situation you find yourself in. If you find yourself backed in the corner, homie, come out stabbing, not swinging. He said, always have you a piece. I said, boy, I thought men fight with these. He said, dead men. You know what I mean? He said, you say what I do and you do what I say, Holmes, right? I said, all right. I could say this. Certain things he said, I would let it fly over my head because he was high anyways at that time. And I was like, this about to don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But a lot of things he said, although they didn't make sense at the time, they make total sense now. You know? And that was the Bob of my family. You know, and I know a lot of you Vatos are sitting here right now. Hey, I don't got no Bob in my family. Well, then you fucking got a Rosie. Either way, she's out there being a piruja. You either got a Bob or you got a Rosie, or you got a Rosie and a Bob. You know what I mean? And then don't be mad, homie. The shit's hitting her anyways. But I will tell you this, you know, a lot of my homeboys had Bobs, you know, they had fucking that stilo, they had that Chicano flavor, and this shit goes back to the, you know, the 70s and 80s, man. Every Chicano, all the norteños, man, had that biker, you know. Every Chicano likes, you know, maybe not now, maybe with you youngsters with your tight ass fucking pants and the fucking drums on the cuerno, whatever you fucking are thinking about, you're like, nah, fuck that, you're all hyphy, you know what I mean? Hey, hyphy and I function, right? You're all into that. And that's cool. That's the stilo now. That's the era, man. I ain't mad at you. You know, I won't understand it, but hey, who am I to even understand that? You guys are wiggling, man, and I'm proud of you doing your thing. But everyone of my era and pre to my era like bikes. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, hey, when I grow up, I'm gonna get me a fucking Harley. Oh, all of a sudden you're gonna be a Hell's Angel. Now I'm gonna be a Mongol, right? Vatos wanted to get bikes. You know, it was just a flavor, man. You see a lot of old school, older Chicanos that lean that way now. They got the big old whips. You know, I got a rattlesnake gun. Who do you love? And I guarantee all those motherfuckers think they're Bob. You know what I mean? All of them. At one point in time, it flashes through their mind when they're going down Niles Canyon, looking for the rattlesnake and todo. Oh my, right? But I've met a lot of guys. You know, I met a lot of guys that reminded me of not necessarily Isai Morales, who played Bob, or even the real Bob, but the perception of what we think when we think about that character, you know? And a lot of people love that character. Man, that character was beloved. I won't even watch, and this motherfucker's my cousin, but I won't even watch La Bamba if Bob wasn't involved. I don't give a fuck if a motherfucker can play a flying guitar. None of that matters to me. What matters to me is that motherfucker went to Mexico by the sweat of my balls, right? He brought some authenticity to the movie. He brought some Chicanismo to the movie. He shows what Chicanos are, man. And we're not all bad individuals. We're not the bad people, you know, but we have our style and we have our flavor. You know, that's just like if you guys are watching, say if you're an Africano and you're watching a hip-hop movie, you're not going to want to see some fucking nerd, you know what I mean? You guys are going to want to see a butta that comes up rolling on. And I know it's a stereotype, but it's the real deal. So that's just the real stuff, right? Eat it. It's real. It's buzzer. You feel me? And so when we see this as being a Chicano or Mexicano, Latino, period, we could identify, you know, and that's what this world's about, being able to identify, because once you can identify with someone, you're more comfortable around them. Now, you're susceptible to getting played, right? If this vato really has some cruel intentions, oh yes, you can find yourself booked and hooked, and that's what it is. But at the end of the day, man, we want to be around people that we could identify with, right? And but it's always good, and listen to this twist, it's always good to go out of your comfort zone and do new things and meet new people, you know? Just like the Mexicanos, the Chicanos, we have Bobs, the Gavas have Bobs too. You know what I mean? Oh, brother, right? They have Bobs. The Africano have Bobs, you know what I mean? They have Uncle, what's his name? You want to go night-night? Everybody can go night-night. Say it with your chest, right? They have motherfuckers like that. Everybody has the perception of a Bob to each ethnicity. You know, and I'm not trying to divide anyone, man. I'm all about uniting people. But at the end of the day, man, we call it like we see it, and we say it like we call it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know? And one of our main characters, man, in the folklore of our people was Bob. Period. You know? Can't take that away from us. That motherfucker played that role to the T. Sasuke, that motherfucker was like, I want to see my daughter, right? And you could identify with, man, I remember at one point in time, I fucked up, my baby mom kicked me out. I was like, I want to see my daughter, right? And I was like, oh, boy. You know what I mean? Fucking Bob. She was like, get out of here. I'm not your puta. And I was like, oh, bitch, you gonna pay me, right? I was pissed. Bob like a motherfucker. Anyways, man, I just wanted to put a little spill out there and talk about how Chicanos could identify with it, man. How everyone got someone like that in their family, you know. And you might not necessarily have a Bob in your family. And when I'm using that as to characterize an individual, you might have a Paco, you might have a Jaime, you might have a Felipe. You know what I mean? Oh my, you don't understand what I'm saying if you don't understand what I say, right? And what I'm saying is this. I'm a proud person, proud of my brown skin, proud of my people, my gente, regardless if they're incarcerated, regardless if they're rocking the bad rhyme, regardless if they're rocking the good rhyme. Hey, I see us all as equal. I see us all as even. I see us all as a proud warrior gente. And that's going to be period to the day you motherfuckers hit me and I'm done. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. You know what I mean? And that's just what I go by. So at the end of the day, hey, I was scratched up. I was gamed up, homie. I had status. I did what I did, you know. Hey, I'm looked at now as you're not the vato to tell me what to do. But guess what? I never was the vato even when I was functioning to tell you what to do. But guess what? If I told you something, you did it. Bang, bang. You know, with that being said, man, I just wanted to put a little food for thought. Oh, boy. Rest in peace to the real Bob Morales, man, because that motherfucker gave a lot of people role models to role model themselves after. And any of you vatos that role modeled yourself after them, babosos. Hey, it is what it is, man. I hope that you guys move fast with a purpose. That's called hustling. At the end of the day, man, it's all about uniting the raza. North, South, Bulldogs, oh my, even MS. But watch out, because machetes, they'll fucking cut you. Ain't no joke. All them vatos, Chirac, Chicago, Latin Council, Latin Kings, fucking Texas Syndicate over there in Texas, and everyone in between. It's all love, gente. It's all raza. Oh boy, that's how we gonna do it. Bang, bang, the gun.